Well, car remote jamming is on the rise, and a local tracking and recovery firm says while there's actually been a downward trend this year, they've seen a sudden spike of 66% in the run-up to Black Friday and peak shopping season. Well, Clifford de Wit, the Chief Technology Officer of Netstar, joins us now with some tips on how to stay safe this festive season. Clifford, thank you so much for joining us. It's happened to me numerous times, and I still don't understand how it happened.
Yeah, okay, great question. You know, the best analogy I have is imagine you're in a noisy room. Everybody can still speak, but when the noise level goes up, it's hard for people to actually hear people talking. So the jamming kind of works like that. What happens is a nefarious person kind of puts something very close to your car or in the parking lot, and basically they broadcast a lot of noise over the spectrum that your remote control works at. So your remote control still pushing, when you push the button, it still sends a signal, but because your car is close to the noise, it can't actually hear the signal from your remote control getting to the car. And then what happens is your car just doesn't lock because it doesn't identify that signal that comes from your remote control. And therefore you assume you've pushed the button, you have actually pushed it, the signal is leaving your little remote control, but because your car is sitting in this huge noise, it can't actually hear that you pushed the button, and so forth, it doesn't lock. And that's obviously when they pounce on you and enter your car because it remains unlocked. So that's kind of the best analogy. They're basically just flooding the spectrum with all of this noise, and your car just can't hear the lock signal that you give it.
Clifford, for a techie engineer type, that was really well explained. I'm impressed. I finally got it. Your stats show a massive increase since the middle of November. Is that typical for this time of year?
No, look, so we've been actually pleasantly surprised. The numbers have been going down quite nicely throughout the year, and especially sort of for the last 2-3 months, they've actually been coming down quite nicely. But as we sort of said, in the lead up to Black Friday, and I think as probably more people have been venturing out to retail environments, the numbers have gone up quite dramatically. So it was a little bit of a blip on our average stats, and this is why we thought we'd put out a warning. But we have noticed quite a big change. I mean, it jumped 60% over the course of sort of a week and a half, and that just shows, you know, that people are probably looking to take advantage of people going back to retail. And as we said, especially around Black Friday, where people knew parking lots would be full, shopping centers would be full. So we just wanted to alert the public that be careful, be vigilant, and make sure that your car is actually locking in that time.
But here's the problem, Clifford. I know that I locked the car. So what can I do to protect myself?
Yeah, so the best thing to do, Annika, really is actually just to physically make sure that your car is locked. You know, push the remote if that's the way you lock your car, but just lean over and pull your door handle and make sure that the car is actually locked. That's the best thing you can do. I think we've all kind of got used to the fact that indiscriminately it works, right? So we all kind of get out of our car, slam the door, push the button and walk away, right? And assume that the car is going to be locked. So I guess the warning is just don't assume. Make sure that if you tug on the handle of your car, that it is actually locked. That's the best thing you can do, and that will that'll stop most of these issues. Most of these issues are really because people assume that the car is locked but don't physically check that it's actually happened.
I mean, my hands are usually full of school bags, parcels, you know, 1,000,001 things. So I actually would need to physically go back and check, and that's something that I'll be mindful of. Parking lots, malls, are those the sort of prime hunting grounds for remote car jammers?
Yeah, look, we see it everywhere, right? So our numbers come out of our devices actually have a preemptive warning. So what we do is we very carefully listen for that noise in the room that I was talking about. And if we detect that there's a lot of noise, aka people jamming, we send a notification to our users to tell them just to be aware, because we've detected that there is jamming in the environment. So we try and proactively warn our users of it as well. But yes, we do notice it everywhere, right? We notice it, but obviously sort of more at locations where there is high foot traffic, where there are lots of cars. Schools are obviously a big area, and malls, those are your big ones, right? Where there's lots of people, lots of confusion around people in and out of cars. So those are the places you really need to make sure that you do lock the vehicle.
All right, that's great and sound advice. Thank you so much to Netstar's Chief Technology Officer, Clifford de Wit.
I get what you were saying about, you know, him explaining it well,
It really was well explained.
Because sometimes we get a lot of PR of like tech-heavy stuff, and we don't understand it. But now, because of Clifford, at parties, I'll be explaining. You see, it's like when there's noise in a room. Huh?
It's a very good
and I'll be there,
I've
being the smart
never
guy at the
understood.
parties. Thank you, Clifford. We appreciate it.